大家好，巴黎见。
我们在巴黎等你们，随便来一支队友吧。
我们巴黎见。
8강 진출하게 되었는데 먼저 파리 가서 기다리고 있겠습니다. 파리에서 만나요.
파리 가서 크루아상 먹고 있겠습니다.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Team Liquid that eventually clutches out Game 1 as I got to experience this game next to two very nervous LCS reps because of the moves, I think, on the one hand, that TL kind of, you know, didn't know what they were doing with their decision-making. But on the other hand, a paiN Gaming that had some of the clutchest moments I think I've seen at Worlds, perhaps, with the Dragon Steel, to just name one, but in the proactive plays.
And this was the final fight where I think 2 days in a row, Kai'Sa has kind of bailed out NA, because the start of this fight was pretty scary. Super clutch charm there by APA, and then Yeon had like a really big gold lead. He was a full item Kai'Sa, and he's able to carry this fight.
Yeah, the entire game, I'm looking at it, he has such a giant gold lead. He was so far ahead. I was waiting for the big moment for him to carry, but they made it incredibly close. And right there, the final team fight with paiN having the Ocean Soul, if like things could be so different if small things went a little bit differently, if they don't rush in there, and they play it a little bit slower, then you get to take more advantage of Ocean Soul. And so that's why my stomach was hurting. I was on the edge of my seat. Shox is here watching both of us, and we're like, this,
I get it.
This series was the first game being so close. I am especially nervous after the previous series that we just saw.
You felt like Team Liquid felt on the Rift, it feels like, no?
Yeah, I mean, they look shaky.
Yeah.
They look shaky at the start. They look shaky for pretty much this entire game. I'm hoping that the nerves hitting them and them getting through this game are going to let them be cleaner in Game 2. But this is some examples of the things that were happening. This is after Impact pulled off a nice move at level 1 to get a small advantage of the lane swap, nearly gets solo killed. UmTi smites 200 health early on the Mountain Drake, and it gets stolen. That eventually turned into a soul. And then there were fights after that as well where it felt like they were fumbling a little bit.
Yeah, I thought Wizer did a really, really good job on the Gnar for the majority of this game. It was a big threat. He kept on retaking advantage away from Impact, and paiN put a lot of pressure on TL. Probably as much possible pressure without fully taking the game.
No, absolutely. And I feel like I was waiting also because we saw the Gnar was doing really well, and you saw the wombo combo. It existed. It just, luckily for TL, never completely came to fruition because they shut the door with the Kai'Sa, which they had to do.
Yeah, exactly. And that was, they like waited till the last possible moment to pull out a clutch team fight. They had been messing up so many of the other clutch moments earlier on, which is what got paiN ahead. And paiN had, you know, the good Orianna Nocturne combo you're talking about, picking off APA in the side lane, and, you know, constantly looking for these opportunities.
A positive for me, though, I would say, aside from the bad smite that UmTi had, I think UmTi played a good game.
Yeah.
He was creating a lot of action early. He was getting a lot of picks in side lanes. And I think especially when he was targeted so heavily in the ban phase with the Sejuani ban, as well as them kind of self-banning Skarner, but just not being able to be on a tank jungler. Maokai got banned in the 4-5. He was the creator for them for most of the game, I thought.
Yeah, he's the one who got APA all of the money early on the Ahri. It is a patented combo because it really does rely on the Vi always starting it off. And he was the one that got so many picks started for them. I think it's just because the objectives and the Dragons ended up being so big that's what people will take away. But look at this. It's just our entire reel is him on the Vi, showing that not only the Sejuani and Maokai and Skarner that we mentioned in Champ Select that were all banned away, but also being able to use the Vi as the main engage. And that's been the traditional role that Team Liquid have set up for a lot of their successful comps, has been Core, UmTi, and a lot of the times Impact being on engaged champions and really setting up and feeding money to Yeon and APA.
Yeah, and we were having a bit of a heated discussion here because I was trying to argue that I feel like Team Liquid, and we haven't really seen the perfect Team Liquid game the way they would like to play it and finish it at Worlds yet. And I think that's what makes everyone a little bit more doubtful. And I think if you then tag on the fact that, again, the situation next year, the fact that TL has not gotten those international kind of last hurdles that they wanted, right? This is kind of the farthest you could be away from it because you're in the 0-2 is making them make these mistakes. Do you have faith that this was just a game one situation? Or should we, I think as we should, give paiN a little bit more respect and think that they gave them a run for their money?
Yeah, I mean, I do think paiN deserves respect. As they mentioned earlier in the cast, 9-2 all time. Not great, but also not completely free. It's not some type of 99-1 game. And then actually the last time Core and Impact played against paiN at Worlds, they did lose to them. This was one of the big plays that made us super nervous when the Nocturne Orianna flies over the wall. TL just had one pick. Again, if Yeon doesn't last hit this Baron, we're having a very different desk segment right now. So paiN played such strong defense in this game. Even though they lost 5 of their turrets, they held that shell for like 10, 15 minutes and almost pulled their way back in the game.
And that play right there, I love from paiN so much because they use the control ward over the back of Baron Pit to bait in UmTi and Impact for the Ezreal and Orianna combo, and them deleting both UmTi and Impact right there is what got them such a big opportunity.
Yeah. Match point.
This happens all the time, Shocks.
What?
When you're watching EU teams or I'm watching on EU teams, I am never comfortable or confident they're going to win.
Neither.
But then the other side is. Like, like when I'm watching G2, I'm like, yeah, they're going to win. And you're just like a ball of nerves. And I feel like it's exactly the same thing, depending on what perspective you're watching the games from, because that game one was incredibly tense for me. I'm sure it was incredibly tense for Kobe as well. I am like massively more comfortable going into game two, though, only because they were able to get through that struggle. And I'm hoping that they can take the momentum and make all the good plays and avoid the bad ones.
And big question, of course. We heard earlier that dyNquedo, we don't know about the Yone, right? But we saw that it was banned out on the side, on blue side from Team Liquid. If that becomes a factor, maybe we've got a whole different ball game, but we don't know. It's paiN Gaming that has selected the blue side. It could be their very last game at this tournament, but we'll see if Team Liquid can bring it home.
Oh, well, I'm there.
Can I, no, it's this way. Can I pat Jot's head?
Welcome back, everybody. What are you trying to
pat Jot's head? There we go.
the analyst? All right.
It was a good analyst.
Sorry, Kobe, I don't want to.
Thank you, Flowers.
It's so big.
You give him a shoulder rub, you know?
I don't know the right way to go. Anyway, welcome back to our game 2 of Team Liquid versus paiN Gaming. Game number 1 was a battle. And honestly, the last fight was pretty explosive. And I feel like that game still could have gone either way, considering the gold lead compared to the soul advantage that paiN had. It felt like we were heading straight to a high noon showdown at the Elder Pit. Team Liquid ends up walking away with a win, but paiN Gaming definitely had some high points in the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was just barely that TL were able to scrape that out. Honestly, from some heroics from Yeon, which I think he is just deserving of so much credit. You're very excited. Yone banned.
Yone banned on red side.
They banned it on blue side too, so I'm not surprised.
It's a world's miracle. All right, I'm just saying.
But either way, you know, Yeon got a lot of criticism, and I think rightfully so for his performance last year at Worlds. I don't think he was really able to get much of anything done. You know, he didn't have any big games that you kind of look back to and remember. Yeah. He was kind of a passenger in a lot of those games, and he has improved so much from last year to this year. It really is incredible. Even in a run where TL are obviously disappointed where they are at, he has had some very bright moments. I don't think he has really been a part of most of the kind of like big oopsie moments or mistakes. He's been really consistent. He's been very impressive so far.
Yeah, it's a very similar trajectory to what we saw from APA. I feel like the APA story ends up taking center stage most of the time because he came in late in the season last year. They started with Yeon and Harry, then it switches to Yeon and APA. APA also came out much more of a like a trash talker, much more of a big personality compared to Yeon, and so his glow up ends up becoming more prominent. But Yeon has improved so much. He really was the deciding factor in that final fight in Team Liquid being able to end the game. And let's go ahead and see how this game differs.
But that's why they're going to ban away the Kai'Sa, right? Make sure that Yeon doesn't have that same impact in the last game. Now, I still think that buy Ari for UmTi APA was a big proponent for their success, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and log that in on this rotation here, but kind of surprised to see the Jax ban come through because you saw really the details. It was not looking so hot.
No, I mean, he did about as much damage as the supports in that game. Wizer was really running him in the 1v1, you know, had more impact in the team fight, so I'm pretty surprised that got banned out.
All right, so the bans here in this first round, it's Ziggs, Jax, Kai'Sa, banned out by paiN, Aurora, Yone, and Lucian, banned out by Team Liquid. First pick of the draft is Nocturne for paiN. I love that. I feel like it's such an impactful champion when played well. CarioK going to be piloting that one again. This time around, Team Liquid first picking the Gnar for themselves, taking it away from Wizer.
And do they take away the Orianna? Do you just deny that combo here? Because Orianna is still a perfectly good mage just by herself in the mid lane, and with the Aurora taken away, those have kind of been the two combos that we've seen Nocturne paired with. But UmTi going to go back towards the Skarner and say, hey look, if you're just going to jump on me, I'm going to impale you in place.
Yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see, what kind of combo they go for. If it's Nocturne Orianna, you also go towards the Kennen, which is considered a strong early matchup into the Gnar, and also does pair really, really well with the Nocturne. So I think there's definitely some options there. There's lots of strong pairings, but looking like it is going to be the Orianna. UmTi obviously going to be piloting the Skarner here. Did have some disappointing ults in that first game. You could see even in his player cams, he was missing some of the ults against, I think it was the LNG game. That really had some big reactions and definitely wants to prove how well he can play. But that being said, his early games have been very strong. I think across all of the games that TL have played at Worlds, UmTi has really been a difference maker. He was able to be a part of the first blood in mid lane in both of their first two games, was a big part of getting APA fed in the last game like they were talking about on the desk. So I do think overall his level of play has been pretty high.
All right, Renekton versus Gnar. You can't get much more of a classic top lane matchup than this, I feel like, at Worlds if you look back throughout the history books. But that's going to be the name of the game here in this second head-to-head between these two teams. Wizer piloting the Renekton, and it looks like it's APA's Neeko coming back onto the Rift. We did see him pick this in their first game here at Worlds. He had a pretty rough game on it, but we've seen some pretty brilliant performances from him on it in the past as well. So I think the NA fans out there are hoping to see APA Neeko back in form here.
Yeah, and I think it can work out incredibly well for them, especially when the composition that wants to try and jump in on top of you. You buy a lot of space for what should be a lot of firepower in behind it. But at the moment, sure, you've got some damage from the Gnar and the Skarner, but it's not enough to really facilitate what I think you need right now. So I am looking at a heavy late game scaling carry here for Yeon to try and really bounce up and bring up that damage level, so then in the fights you've got that to rely on.
Honestly, I think if Ezreal's not banned now, he'll probably just go Ezreal from this spot. Yeah. And we'll see, how he's going to be able to perform on that. But yeah, this is kind of two parts of that LNG loss where they had two players who were getting a lot of criticism, APA and UmTi, both playing the exact same champions here, so looking to make good on that. You can see, though, that TL is kind of showcasing that they want to go heavier on the dive. That's what the ban on Xayah is telling me. So will be interesting to see what the final ban here is from paiN, if they're actually going to ban away the Ezreal and try to deny that from Yeon potentially.
Yeah, I'm curious if they end up with some sort of even delving further into that Gnar engage with the Renata or something for CoreJJ, but I do think you actually want a little bit more of that potential setup engage, like an Alistair or the Rell. Poppy also banned away says that chances are they're eyeing up a Rell for themselves here on paiN Gaming side, but we'll have to see if they're going to get down into that, as I don't think the Jhin's what you want here. Honestly, as you said, the Ezreal or something along these lines that can play heavy in those team fights would be great.
He's jumping back and forth between a whole lot of different stuff.
I think it's going to be Ezreal or Varus.
Kalista and Poppy banned out by paiN.
Ezreal or Varus is the only ones I'm believing. Yeah, Ezreal is kind of what I figured pretty early on, just kind of knowing his playstyle. And when you're looking over and you're seeing Nocturne, well, you don't want to play something like a Varus. Really, it's so dangerous into that. So
yeah, you just get torpedoed.
Exactly. In this way, it's still very difficult though, because you can't really flash the Nocturne Orianna combo if they time it well. The Nocturne's always going to follow you after that flash. If you flash after he arrives, the Nocturne Orianna combo has already gone off. So it is kind of unavoidable damage if it's perfectly timed. But obviously you have that range, you have that safety, and you have potentially the follow-up into the backline.
Okay, well, we've got the Jhin locked in for Chitan, and the Rell will be taken away from CoreJJ this time. Kuri will be the one playing that. What does Core want to play into it? I expect an engaged champion here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be engaged pretty much 100%. I do think that Skarner can work on a flank, or Gnar can work on a flank, but all of these champions in the first three are better as follow-up engage, I think, than primary engage. So I do think grabbing Leona makes a lot of sense here. Leona hits an ulti, Leona hits an E, everyone else kind of piles in. You have that follow-up, of the E from Neeko, of the stun from that Skarner. And that's going to be the name of the game, is really, can TL get to and pressure dyNquedo and Chitan? Because I think that is really where you're going to get the success. If the Neeko ult is only hitting frontline, if the Gnar ult isn't able to get into that backline, that's where I think they're going to struggle.
I also think there is a window where you can try and just play through this mid jungle and punish dyNquedo. Just say, look, that combo falls apart if you've got no damage on this Orianna. So let's just try and focus her down early. You've got good lockup with the Neeko, great follow-up from a Skarner that come in from multiple different angles. It could be the point of contention for TL.
Yeah, absolutely. And like what I was touching on before, you know, UmTi in both of her 2 games was part of First Blood in mid lane, right? He has been playing pretty heavily toward that, has been doing a good job of tracking vision. So we'll see how paiN are going to be able to handle it. I have to give Kuri a lot of credit from the early game last game where I was talking about how much he was actually covering dyNquedo on this Orianna. When he lost his flash, the Alistar from that game was pretty much always behind him, covering him to push out these waves, making sure he couldn't actually be preyed on by this Vi Ahri combo. So we'll see if he's going to be trying to do something similar here in game number 2.
All right, fellas. Team Liquid 1 game away from winning the series and ending the world's run of paiN Gaming. But paiN, you know, they would love to take this to a game 3. They would love, after the first time for Brazil making it back to the main stage in so many years, to then knock out a major region team would just be an absolutely incredible accomplishment.
Yeah, and Jhin talked to Pedro Romero and was saying that, look, even though we've kind of ticked off a lot of our boxes, like getting to the main stage, playing against T1, like Kuri and Jhin were speaking quite a lot about how, for Kuri specifically, it was great for him to kind of play up against his old team in T1 and go against Gumayusi and Kerry and play against some of his old friends from back then as well. But they don't want this to be over. They still want to keep kicking, and they were definitely kicking and screaming in the last one as TL barely got across the finish line. And now it's time to see if they can keep that one rolling again.
All right, as our top laners dance back and forth, a reminder to log into your Riot account on lolesports.com and watch Worlds Live to earn exclusive Worlds emotes, icons, and capsules. Things you can spam at your lane opponent, just like those fellas were doing up there in the top lane. As TL are going for a little bit of a delayed invade here. CoreJJ and Yeon just walking through the enemy jungle as Jhin heads back to his tier 1 turret.
Yeah, but no lane swap this time around. TL obviously really well known for executing on those incredibly well. Have been very successful even here at Worlds. And we're going to get some standard lanes, which to me is always way more exciting. Honestly, I just want to see these lanes go head-to-head, see what Core and Yeon can do against Jhin and Kuri.
I am a fellow lane swap hater. I appreciate your opinion, my friend.
Okay, we'll see if they want to try to actually jump in, or if it's just going to be looking for a little bit of poke. Looks like they'll just play for the push, and paiN playing intelligently on the other side of those minions, so no sort of Mystic Shot could actually land from that spot.
All right, just fighting for vision control over the brush. They do manage to secure that first ward kill there. So we're losing bone plating. Mystic Shot sidestep, though. Nicely done on that one.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have too much action in the early stages. I think the main one is, again, kind of waiting for some of these kind of level 5, 6 to be hit, especially for their mid lane, and then trying to play through that. But the opportunity for UmTi as he starts to move down towards his bottom side is the only one that I'd kind of be keeping my eyes on to see, hey, look, have we actually got this lane breaking either way, or have we been able to find a big engage for Kuri and Jhin that maybe you can look to punish or counter that aggression? But at the moment, Jhin having that control.
Ooh, nice double shattering strike there from Kuri. Followed up with a quick deadly flourish from Jhin. CoreJJ and Yeon both already drinking some of those potions, popping some of their healing items.
Yeah, it's hard to trade very effectively as CoreJJ on the level 1 because you're able to do the crash down as Rell. You get that extra range on the auto attacks, and you can kind of poke from a little bit afar. Now, if you invest the Q from CoreJJ, you can get the stun back, but it's very hard to try and get through everything like the shield and that on the trade. So at least Kuri able to play it advantageously in this matchup and will help get that push.
You can see APA, though, winning out pretty heavily on these trades. dyNquedo has already used both of his potions here, so APA has that additional potion and the HP lead to boot.
Right, remember back in game number 1, because of the way that it wasn't just a lane swap, it was a weird lane swap where Impact was still able to get his EXP down there in the bottom lane, and so APA had to deal with a 2v1 lane situation early that caused him to get pushed back, that caused him to be down in HP. Now that it's a fair fight, now that it's a 1v1, he appears to be doing a whole lot better.
Yep, looking good thus far. APA obviously has had quite the journey from a player that was like kind of becoming a bit of the laughingstock in the community. People were, constantly criticizing him, saying there's no way he deserves a spot on TL, that he's going to get replaced. He has put his head down and grinded. This guy has worked so incredibly hard, and that has really been one of the hallmarks of the entire TL team, and their improvement throughout this year has been how hard they have worked. We even saw Yike giving a lot of credit over to them and talking about how he respects how much TL really has put in that work. As UmTi, was looking for a potential angle on a dive, but will at the very least be able to steal away these Raptors.
on the opposite side for paiN Gaming, this was supposed to be a squad that in theory was almost like a super team, bringing in Jhin and Kuri this year. This was the addition that everyone looked and said, oh yeah, paiN Gaming is going to MSI, but they couldn't quite get it right for spring. But now coming in towards summer, this bot lane has been so good for them, and even now at Worlds, Jhin and Kuri have been having a great time.
Ooh, hold on, CarioK having a flash away from the Tangle Barbs, otherwise APA could have set it up with UmTi for a kill.
And I think it's also been really, really fun watching Jhin in Champions Queue. People are giving so much credit to him, hyping him up. He's actually really performing well, so well individually. And he's just such a fun player to watch because he has this extremely aggressive play style there where he's looking for these 1v1s. He's trying to dash forward. He's trying to make space and create problems for the enemy team. Force them to try to look for some sort of ability to outplay him instead of just sitting back and waiting for a mistake. And we can see there, he's able to force out the barrier from Yeon.
Top lane also going better than it was in game number 1 for Team Liquid. Ooh, nicely done from CoreJJ there, throwing out the Zenith Blade, forcing a flash from dyNquedo. This is also really nice considering our mid laners are about halfway to level 6 for dyNquedo, nearly all the way there for APA. No flash on an Orianna. If you have the setup here on the Neeko for a Pop Blossom and Skarner driving through a wall, lots of kill potential.
Yeah, it's also worth knowing that UmTi is going kind of that more scaling route here. He is going Grasp, which pretty much always means you go with the Heartseal's Derek's build.
Yep.
And that is much slower to turn on than kind of the other option, which some people just go Zeke's or Locket or those types of supportive items. But it does scale very well and can make you quite a bruiser in these later fights.
Okay, UmTi flashing forward to slam CarioK into the wall. APA comes in with a Pop Blossom and finds 2. CoreJJ is going to die, but APA is going to get first blood on CarioK first. Team Liquid continuing the 2v2 now against Kuri and dyNquedo, who has to try to get away back underneath the tier 1 turret of paiN Gaming. 1 for 1 when the dust settles.
The Sundering Strike from Kuri just dissuading any sort of follow-up there from TL. The slow could have been it, but still, they managed to get a 1 for 1 all said and done.
You get 1 for 1, but it's first blood for TL, and the kill goes on APA, whereas on the other side, it's just going to your support here, which obviously favors TL pretty heavily. Also means they have that kind of HP advantage there, at least for now. So they're trying to start up these grubs, but CarioK is back from the base, is back to full health, and UmTi is getting low, so this is getting a little bit dicey here for TL.
Yeah, UmTi only at 40% HP. Gonna have to retreat away from this when CarioK will say thank you very much and head back into the grub pit.
UmTi is moving over to try and collect his Krugs though, because it should tick him over to level 6, which is why he wanted to get that Scuttle Crab as well, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to stay with the low health.
Impact has Mega, so I think they want it.
Yeah, Impact has Gnar and Flash. Meanwhile, Jhin in some trouble down here in the bottom lane. CoreJJ just going to immediately find the shield at Daybreak. Follows Jhin underneath the turret. It's another 1 for 1 trade, but the money's on Yeon, so Team Liquid's going to call that one worth.
Yeah, they're definitely going to call that one worth, and we'll see how much farm does end up getting denied. Of course, the wave is crashing on TL's tower right now, so Jhin not losing out too much. But the biggest story is that he loses both his summoners there, so he's going to be very vulnerable in these subsequent fights here, as dyNquedo getting quite low, but does have Kuri covering him, just like he did in game number 1.
They should give Dragon to UmTi, though. You can see him moving out of base and immediately move down to this bottom side. The kill on boss, and then him ticking over to level 6, but looks like he's just going to try and shadow APA here as he pushes in and pick up these Raptors, but I imagine as Yeon gets back out of the map, that'll be where they try and oil.
Yeah, you can see Core coming over as well, so they might actually look for a potential fight here on CarioK as he's going to try to come forward.
CarioK has no flash. He's got no way out. UmTi just immediately kills him with the Impale, drags him right back over. There's no way for Nocturne to react with the spell shield when you don't know that they're there.
He didn't get a chance to react as he got locked up. It was really good layering of CC. You see CoreJJ just standing there waiting to smash that shield into his face before he even gets a chance to respond.
And it's just great play from the mid jungle here of TL. Impact holding up much better, in that 1v1 here against Wizer. That was 40 gold lead, who cares? It's basically even. But APA getting 2 of those early kills. Core has been so active on the map. This kind of is his signature style. When he gets unlocked from map, it works so well when he's pairing with that Ezreal, because he can just get out on the map, attack these different lanes, pair up with UmTi, pair up with APA, and cause problems.
I mean, it's the reason why everybody always loves seeing CoreJJ on these Engage and Playmaker champions. Remember that when he became a world champion, it was back in Season 7. That wasn't just Enchanter meta. That was one of the darkest hours in League of Legends. That was Ardent Censor meta, right? That was the Enchanter of Enchanter metas. But the man, it's not that he can't play Enchanters.
Here we go.
It's that he's so good at Engage. And CarioK's engaging in the mid lane now, going after APA. A nice shockwave to follow it up. up. dyNquedo and CarioK, they've got APA's number, and CarioK's getting paid.
And that's where you can start to turn it around. dyNquedo and CarioK, we were just praising TL's mid-jungle, but great pick onto APA. You still had no flash up because he'd used it in that earlier skirmish around mid.
Exactly, and it was a nice attempt by APA. He tried to use the E through the Nocturne to hit the Orianna to try to get the extended range there. Couldn't quite connect on it, and then when that happens, you just have to give it up. You realize you're going to be going down, as Impact trading heavily here with Wizer.
Problem is, Impact doesn't have any buddies, and Wizer's got a couple of them heading up. So Impact, as soon as he turns back into the mini Gnar, knows he has to hop away. He will disengage before they jump on him. Down in the bottom lane, though, it looks like Yeon is just going to keep on pushing, keep on farming, grab a little bit of plate money, and keep getting fed on this Ezreal.
Yeah, exactly. We can see that Jhin didn't feel safe, right? Because he lost his summoner, so he couldn't actually answer a 1v2 on the bot side. He would just get dove. So he has to give that up. But unfortunately, the tempo kind of wasn't really there. The resets weren't in time. So dyNquedo heads out towards bot, but not before they lost a plate, not before they lose most of those minions. And Jhin is the one that heads out towards mid lane to try to collect that.
Now made it until the void grubs as well. You can see the resets coming through as TL start to move up towards the top side.
Had transformed into a minion. He walked back to the minion wave to make sure he could get the transform. Jhin doesn't count the wave, and APA catches him off guard.
It just reminds me of the Berserker meme. You know, Berserker sees 2 cannons on a wave and thinks it's his lucky day.
Well, it's definitely APA's
it's the
lucky
80
day.
carry meme right there. Yeah, APA able to grab a kill. Nicely done by him. You gotta count those minions. You have to be so careful about it. It's one of the most frustrating things about Neeko is you kind of have to play this mini game the entire game. If Neeko's not on the map, you've got to be watching for those potential plays. And you can see he's actually shifted over into Yeon, but Yeon's showing mid, so not going to surprise anyone about it.
It does mean you don't have APA's ultimate available though for the upcoming void grub. So it is giving a lot of gold and resources. Don't get me wrong with all these plates going down, but I'm curious how paiN Gaming want to try and react to this. You still don't have like first island completions coming through, so it would still be very risky to go for a play, but maybe you can find a timing window as they come up. But with TL now shifting topside, Wizer might be the one who's none the wiser here.
UmTi and CarioK are going to find one another here in this tri-brush near top lane. Doesn't look like we'll get a whole lot more after it, or will we? Never mind. They want a full commit here onto Impact, who has to try to get away from it. He flashes to escape, but dyNquedo's already there and waiting. Shockwave brings him on back. 3v1 is no fun for the top laner of Team Liquid. Nice moves from paiN Gaming to pick one up.
Yeah, really nice by paiN, and especially the timing on it, because it's right before grubs. They already have 3. If they can get 6 grubs, this would be massive. So UmTi wants to try to stay away and see if he can at least steal 1.
Exactly. Just smite the 1 grub, keep him away from 6. First one already goes over to paiN. UmTi and CoreJJ, they know they can't get any closer. dyNquedo is still up there. Impact is still dead. There's no real way for Team Liquid to try to get closer to this, but Yeon, UmTi, and Core are still moving closer. That last grub, it's very low. It's still trying to fight. UmTi now in the middle of 4. Team Liquid going way too far forward. Wizer's already killed UmTi. TL got way too greedy for the grubs here. All 6 go over to paiN Gaming anyway. APA trying to join up for the fight now. He has his Pop Blossom, but it's too little, too late. paiN Gaming get the objective and the cherry on top for a bonus kill.
I thought UmTi would contest the second grub because the initial smite came down in the first one, but he didn't try to walk in to get just the smite and walk away, deny that 6 grub buff, and it means now TL end up giving over just more kills to boot to paiN Gaming getting that big advantage.
Exactly. I mean, he's kind of walked all the way in there, and paiN are able to get an easy kill onto UmTi. And to add insult to injury, APA then kind of gets drawn into the play. He TPs down from bot lane instead of actually staying and potentially finishing off that tower there. That also means that this whole wave here is going to get denied because he doesn't have a TP to answer that. So definitely a good run of plays there for paiN. Starts with a great pick from them topside on Impact, gets them the 6 grubs. But TL, you can definitely see those nerves.
Well, that's the thing. I think now, though, with all these ultimates back up, they do have an advantage when it comes towards this next dragon. But paiN, honestly, maybe just give it up and go, hey, look, we can start to take some more of these plates while it's still available. Use that 6 grub buff and keep control over mid. TL looking to pick up Wizer, return the favor here on the top laner.
APA and UmTi working together again. Flash out from Wizer to avoid the angle into the wall from UmTi, but a nice use of the Impale drags the Croc back into the Pop Blossom. And there's your damage for APA.
And one of the problems there from Wizer is he actually missed his slice, so he didn't get the reset on the E. He didn't have slice into the dice. If he actually had that, I think he would have been able to create enough space to potentially get out, but he flashes then E's, so ends up being a situation where they're able to chase him down. Now, though, paiN trying to look for a topside play. You can see Jhin's even moving up.
CarioK, after impact, knocks him down to half HP. Deadly Flourish to follow it up. Keep the Gnar locked up there, but Impact has a wave to give him the extra distance and the hop away. So you've got CarioK and dyNquedo trying to knock down the tier 1 turret. Meanwhile, Dragon secured by TL. No steal away this time.
But it does mean that TL are going to be faster back out on the map. The reset from APA, but Yeon
not
Nicely
just
done.
shifting away, but shifting away slightly to the side, so he's not where the Deadly Flourish would naturally aim.
But here's the thing, APA is now back out into the map, doesn't have that ultimate available, but the resets for Rift Herald are there, and see the time mirrors that are here for paiN Gaming, they've still got to try and get back out, so TL could look to potentially sneak this away, but I don't know how confident they are on where paiN Gaming are on the map.
And look at the gold advantage here for APA. Very ahead once again, like last game, even more so this game. Has the Storm Surge, going to be working towards that Proto Belt, so will have a very strong 2-item power spike. That makes it a lot easier to get that backline access, and we'll see if he can find those critical ultimates, because Neeko is so feast or famine. You hit that perfect ult, you do so much damage. You miss it, they all flash out. All of a sudden, it can be an easy teamfight loss after, because you don't really have that much in your kit besides the ult.
The downside, though, is there's very little vision for APA to try and make these plays. TL, Yeon ended up moving down to pick up blue buff. CoreJJ was trying to sync up with UmTi, but he was clearing out his camp, so Impact needs to be the one that draws members of paiN Gaming down here, as now mid control will give TL the space they need on towards the objective.
And that quick trade back and forth between Chiton and Yeon. Yeon used the barrier there to make sure that he didn't lose excess HP. So that summoner spell is down for this Rift Herald fight if paiN decide to fight for it. Rift Herald's already going to be started here by Team Liquid. They are on top of a ward that has not been cleared, so paiN Gaming know what's going on. They're using the TP. They want to bring dyNquedo up here. They want to fight for this. X-Flash from Kuri doesn't really find a whole lot of anything. Wizer off to the side. CarioK jumping in the middle. Nice shockwave. It's Team Liquid in trouble. His impact is already dead, but a nice two-man impale. Drags a couple back the other way. Wizer from the other side going in, looking for the angle for the pincer attack on Yeon. CoreJJ barely getting away. A double kill back to APA, and Yeon is ready to fire. Wizer takes UmTi out, but there's 3 dead on both sides.
That was such a close fight. I think it was a good call from paiN Gaming to realize that APA in marking Wizer wasn't there for the big ultimate, but as soon as APA gets involved, TL are just have to turn around with so much damage off of this Neeko.
Yeah, but still, credit to the paiN carries. They stay safe here. Chiton, as well as dyNquedo, they're not really targeted. So yes, it is a threatening ult that comes over here. They try to find this combo, but the first kill is actually claimed before Neeko ultimate even lands, and the second kill is flashed out of here. Like, it only lands on nothing, right? So yeah, it looked like it was going to be a lot, but look at Chiton over there, look at dyNquedo over here. Also clever little play there from APA, utilized the clone to try to put it in Chiton's face and block the angle for the Jhin ultimates. So some nice little plays there, but it is always tough when you have this Neeko that gets way ahead and has all the gold. You have to nail those ultimates. In this case, it didn't really matter, but if it gets flashed out of, you have not a lot left.
And look at Impact. He still has Flash. He still has Gnar. He died before he could do anything in that fight. Now UmTi getting rooted up as he steps a little bit too far forward into the territory of paiN Gaming. Loses about 1/3 HP there on the Skarner. Team Liquid up 1,000 gold, but it's really not a whole lot 17 minutes into the game. They are going to start the Rift Herald up here again. Down in the bottom lane, it's Yeon and Wizer, but Wizer has an Unleashed TP to join up in the fight here in the topside river if he needs to. So it looks like Yeon's just going to follow him in case that Lizard tries to use the teleport.
Impact's ult is not going to be available here. Gnar is going to expire. paiN had vision on that, so maybe they're going to look for a fight. Core sees them, though.
Herald is low, but it ain't dead yet. Paranoia popped. Rift Herald still at about 2K.
TP.
A lot of damage comes out with a Magnet Storm engage coming out from Kuri and paiN Gaming. Yeon's going to be killed here at the very start as Impact has to walk away in mini Gnar. Wizer still with the Dominus locking him up, and Team Liquid with some critical errors has already lost 2. They're about to lose 3. Impact is dead. APA staying alive just a little bit longer. He's trying to hold the line. He goes in for the Pop Blossom. He wants to turn it around, but everybody else is already dead. There's no follow-up, and UmTi whiffs the Skarner ulti again. Massive moves from paiN Gaming.
Yeah, paiN is showing up huge, really understanding where they are strong, when they are strong. This combination with the Orianna and the Nocturne is so incredibly powerful, and they're just spending all their resources to dodge damage from APA. As long as they don't get caught in a big Neeko ultimate, there's really not a lot of DPS left in this kit here. So they get straight in onto Yeon, they lock him up fully. Yes, he had flash, but at this point you're too low. It's not even worth trying to waste it. And they did a really good job to find this kill. They know Impact was not in Mega and couldn't have any effect.
Also, great TP ward for Wizer, right? Ends up zoning APA away from a lot of that, and then they're able to force the play on towards the side, and then at the very end, their APA turning into the minion to avoid that last shot from Jhin. At least nice heads-up play, but it's kind of a very slim silver lining on the play.
And it is APA using his flash there. He did trade it with Jhin, so Jhin is not having that flash now as he went for that ultimate, as they were sieging that mid lane tower. Gold very, very even here. TL do have that 2-dragon lead right now. It is going to be another Ocean Soul game, but paiN is first to the area. And you can see both the TL jungle and top are up towards that top lane. So it's just going to be a trade, and they're going to see if they can get 1 or maybe even 2 towers here.
Yeah, I think they're fishing for the tier 2 because dyNquedo already securing that bot one. They kind of need another turret to make this valuable. Jhin is going to move over with Kuri, but I think they should still be able to get it with just the amount of TL members that are there. I'm surprised Impact didn't just ride it straight into the turret, to be honest.
Yeah, it would have been a lot faster for sure, but they will at least get that second charge. We'll see if they can finish it off, but Impact did just use his hop to actually just for the attack speed.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't have it.
Now Impact's in some serious trouble. CoreJJ wants to step up and help him, but Impact's gonna die before he can even transform. Tragedy after tragedy for Impact, as now Jhin grabbing another kill on CoreJJ.
It's
Yeon.
It's the inverse.
It's
no
a
way.
It's deja vu. We're back in the same
Yeon
spot
stole
we
the
were.
dragon.
Wow.
There ain't no way, man.
We thought Yeon was broken. It's Ezreal this whole time.
What can junglers do? Press mic.
Junglers hate him. This one trick.
One
Simple trick.
I cannot believe that Impact uses either, though, in that spot, man. It's right on vision. They see you. Yes, you do get the attack speed buff. That's why he does it, but he just E's to try to finish off the tower, and it's an easy engage and a kill. Impact now 0 and 4. 2.4 thousand gold behind Wizer. Again, really getting outplayed by his counterpart.
But this is the steal, and this is actually massive. So again, yeah, just Smite was available,
and
he doesn't want to use
sometimes the Spectre client is wrong, but if it was up, that's a big oopsie. And another flash force there by APA.
But this is the thing now. So for TL, look, that entire topside play went completely awry, but having 3 dragons now, 1, you can either just hope for a steal from UmTi, but 2, you can also start to play elsewhere on the map and make things very uncomfortable for paiN, who have to every single time start to contest you, because if you end up with like trying Jhin to poke you off of an Ocean Soul, it's just not going to work out well for you.
Very important purchase done now, though, for Wizer. Sterix gauge completed on the Renekton. Renekton with Sterix versus Renekton without feels like an entirely different champion in the team fight because you can full send into the backline, be this massive space creator, this massive disruptor that everybody on the enemy team has to protect their carries from.
Yeah, and Gnar on the other side, we haven't even seen him be able to get any Mega Gnar. It's nice ult over the wall.
Nice impale from UmTi to find Kuri there. Drags him back over the other side. Yeon wants to follow and gets the kill. Now Team Liquid looking for a little bit more. They force the flash out of CarioK. He has to avoid the tangle barbs there.
And they get his ulti too, so great moves there from TL. UmTi finding a key pick, pulling him back over the wall.
So the thing about Skarner's ultimate, if you pull somebody over the wall like that, no matter what, they must then spawn on the same side of the wall as you.
Yep.
Even if you don't move, they've got to be on the same side of the terrain, and it makes it so easy to follow it up with the immediate wall slam after. They layer the CC. Yeon is fearless, hopping over to follow it up with the damage, and Team Liquid get a really needed pick.
I didn't know you played a lot of Skarner.
Oh yeah, I dabble.
Okay, yeah.
And Team Liquid right now is still dabbling with a very close game. This is really, really impressive, I think, from paiN Gaming to be able to keep up with Team Liquid the way that they have.
Yeah, I mean, if you would talk about pre-tournament expectations, nice juke by APA there. Goes the opposite way he would expect with the clone. But if you would talk about pre-tournament expectations and tell someone before the tournament started that paiN would not only qualify to Swiss, but would be pushing Team Liquid to the brink in a best-of series, you would be blown away. And they definitely have a lot to be proud of about how they are playing here.
Second items coming online for multiple different champions. You can see your Seraph's Embrace plus Storm Surge, both fully completed for dyNquedo, who is 2-0-7 on the Orianna, by the way. Really good performance on that champion this game. Static Shiv plus Infinity Edge for Cheaton's Jhin. Over on the other side, Trinity Force Muramana core build completed for Yeon, who just now destroyed another turret as well. UmTi making Kuri jump back over the wall there towards the safety of his team. Skarner has about 150 extra health stacked up on the Heartsteel, so a little bit, but nothing completely crazy here just yet. Again, Ezreal, you mentioned it earlier, but this is the build that scales further and further. If you're playing a 40-minute game of League of Legends, you would much rather have this build than the Zeke's Convergence one, but it does take a longer time to come online.
Yeah, exactly. And it can also be strong against melee-heavy teams. It's easier to kind of just walk around and just proc that on a bunch of different people. Right now, it does do 254 bonus damage on the auto, which isn't insignificant. It can actually make a difference on getting some of those kills, so can be pretty strong. We'll see, though, if TL can close this one out. It is 50 seconds just about until that soul is spawning here, and TL are trying to get vision down on the bot side. You can see the resets have come through, except from Impact, who is still very, very far behind, and we'll see if he can find that correct timing. This would be too weird if it's, again, now a trade for Ocean Soul and the other team.
No shot.
For Baron.
No shot. I refuse to believe. UmTi swooping around from the side there. Finds Kuri. A little bit more damage. Without the Tangle Barbs connecting from APA, though, they're not going to full commit onto that. I feel like if you get the root from the Neeko, you can try to burst the Rell down, but as soon as it misses, they just give up.
Great poke. That's all you needed from TL, just to force them back, and then you get to take over. And trying to force your way through this top side with APA being any one of the critters that exist in this jungle is always going to be terrifying.
And I think that was one of the things that TL struggled with in some of their earlier games, where they'd get a chunk and they feel like, we need to get more, we need to get a kill, we need to finish them off. It's okay to just maintain position, control an area around the dragon, get a chunk, and use that to try to play for the objective. And we can see Impact here up on the top side. Was in Mega just recently, so he has no Gnar bar, so even if he TP's in, he's not going to be much of a threat. TL needs to slow play this and buy time for Impact.
Great play from APA, though. He's completely out of vision. There is very few wards behind, so he could get a great flank position.
All right, Dragon's already at half HP. Impact going back to base right now. Clone from APA sent forward on top of the Dragon's position as now Impact is ready to join the team, but he is mini Gnar. He has Steric's Gauge now purchased. Wizer could be in some danger, already down to half HP, has to take the Blast Cone back over the wall. Paranoia used, but CarioK makes no engage. The Drake secured by paiN Gaming, but now they gotta try to get away. dyNquedo is inside the Drake pit as CarioK is caught. Jungler down, paiN Gaming on the run. Team Liquid, they force out the flash from the enemy mid laner. They kill the enemy jungler. Baron is alive.
Exactly, they're going to go straight over towards that Baron. AP going to push out bot first, though, because he does have the TP available. Great smite, though, from CarioK to secure that, because giving over Soul on top of this run of play could have been game-ending here. And now the game, at the very least, will continue, though albeit at a big advantage for TL. They're going to try to come over and see if they can test this, but APA does have TP, and there is a ward right there.
Yeah. paiN wants to try to stop it. The Baron's not dropping exceptionally fast.
He's going to get the flank on the TP.
Kuri still has Magnet Storm. Keep your eyes on that. Wizer coming around from the side. Dominus also ready, but the TP arrives for APA. The real one gets rooted up. He pop blossoms absolutely nothing. He's got to try to get away from the curtain call. He's juking the shots well so far. The Baron should be a guaranteed take for Team Liquid. They secure it with the smite, and now Wizer's in the middle of a 1v4. The Renekton is surviving for an incredibly long time, and he goes on a rampage as Yeon dies. CoreJJ will be the next to go. APA's clone surely can't save him here. Team Liquid, they secure the Baron, but paiN punished with a double kill.
Nice kills coming through for paiN Gaming off the back of it. CarioK's ultimate is just nearly off cooldown, but wasn't quite there to try and get him into position. But Baron secured for TL, even if it was a little dicey on the exit.
Yeah, definitely dicey there. And I mean, again, you know, with APA not finding anything on the flank here, he tries to come in with the TP on the angle. It's a great initial catch there from dyNquedo, and then the root from Cheaton means he can't actually rocket pel forward. He can't flash in for the kill.
The big one, though, is the fact that he got out the shockwave. They tried to hold him in place, so here we go.
We're not done, boys. UmTi jumping in there, trying to protect his mid laner as it looks like the first turret is already down, and they aren't done yet. paiN Gaming with a big shutdown on APA. That Neeko dead now for 50 seconds.
This combo is so terrifying. Throughout Worlds, we've seen how strong it is, not only this year, but in years past as well, and it has worked out fantastically. The Nocturne being able to get on towards the back line wasn't quite the shockwave, but still that damage from the Storm Surge to follow up is enough to finish off both players and towers.
Yeah, absolutely. And APA, you know, he is most of the gold lead here for TL, so needs to be able to find those big ultis, but without Flash now, it's going to get that much more difficult. Lost that in that previous play. You know, TL do still have Baron on a couple here, and we'll see if they can get anything from this, but so far, that Red Bull Baron power play, that's negative 700 gold for TL. paiN have pulled this game pretty much right back to even, and are just punishing TL on every single mistake. They're playing a really strong series.
I am really impressed by what we're seeing from paiN Gaming here today up against Team Liquid. They are doing everything they can to fight these guys at every possible opportunity. They are barely 1,000 gold behind TL, but the big worry for paiN right now, I think, still has to be that Dragon Soul, as UmTi could be in a tough spot, finds the Impale onto 2, APA ready to follow it up, the rest of Team Liquid providing the firepower. UmTi Sterix Gage gonna proc, so now he's gonna be feeling pretty good. Wizer stuck in a bad spot. He tries to slice and dice, but it ain't gonna work enough. Wizer still somehow alive. Neeko into the back line as CarioK falls. Yeon's grabbing a kill, and that's about to be a full ace for Team Liquid. APA's wrapping around to cut off the escape route. dyNquedo wants to get away, and Team Liquid will not allow it. Brazil is aced, and Team Liquid is marching down mid lane.
Liquid show up huge in that fight, and they're gonna probably just try to end it right here, right now.
Only 5 seconds left on Kuri, but it's a support alone. paiN Gaming stood so tall, they fought so hard, but they will ultimately succumb to Team Liquid, who will continue their fight at Worlds 2024.
I gotta say though, man, if that's a preview of some of the Americas matches for next year, paiN has really been stepping up, making it a banger, but a great win for TL at the end of the day. There was definitely some bumps in the road, but they can build some confidence here. They're still alive in the tournament, and now they're gonna have to try to look forward to their next match. And there are some tough draws that you could get. BLG's in there, Weibo's in there. There are some really strong teams.
And I think you can still see the mid to late game mistakes there for TL, but a happy face if you can get that win and start to move forward throughout the rest of the tournament. But I think for paiN Gaming, just commiserations. They proved a huge amount for the CB lot of this Worlds event, and I think they can be very proud of what they did.
Absolutely. paiN Gaming, they can leave with their heads held high, qualifying for the main stage, pushing Team Liquid to the brink, but they will be the second team eliminated now from the main stage at Worlds. Team Liquid, their journey continues.
I'm not cursed.
What do you think? Your curse is broken.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yes, let's go. That's nice. You can thank TL for that one.
Claps for paiN as well.
Claps for paiN. Yes, absolutely.
That was scary.
What a close affair. I mean, so many kind of clutch moments. I think top lane, that was phenomenal for paiN in the series as well. But I think for Team Liquid, I see this as you're on a stairway to what your potential is, the things that you've shown your whole year, right? And this was a very, very necessary victory in order to get back to being able to show that versus the teams that you weren't able to beat in the best of ones a few days ago.
Completely agree. There's a lot of points in this game that they'll look back on and know that they absolutely cannot repeat these mistakes against the teams they have in front of them. The draw that we are going to have is very, very scary. And if you have stuff like the
That's a
like the mic falling down off of your face,
That felt like some of their plays, actually,
yeah.
throughout the series.
I'm thinking of like, okay, so Impact had a bunch where Impact was having a very rough series. Wizer was playing really well, got the better of him, but also the Grub fight where you can tell the communication is Impact is going to revive soon and he has teleport, so he'll come back in, so let's take the fight after. But UmTi goes a little bit too soon. UmTi just kind of walks into them, and it's stuff like that. Some of these plays where you can tell what the play is going to be, but they rush it in some fashion, and it's different players at different times. And yeah, there's definitely some points where we cannot make errors like that moving forward.
Lessons were learned.
I hope so. Yeah. It's so. God, the emotions.
Stressful.
The emotions make it so difficult to talk about in a coherent way, because on one side, I want to believe that they are better than this, but they also 2-0'd, right? I shouldn't expect too much more, and there is a lot of stress in the environment, but it does not lead me with a lot of trust going into the next stage.
I do believe they are better than this, because that's what they've shown all year long. Kind of like what Shox is saying, they have built up this expectations because of their good performances.
Yes, and CoreJJ did as well, and he's standing by in the Verizon post-game interview.
Team Liquid advanced with a clean victory today against paiN Gaming and CoreJJ. Thank you so much for joining me after this series.
Thank you, thank you.
Tell me about this series and the mindset you guys were in coming in today.
We know our brothers, the American brothers, are good, so we prepared well, but game was like harder than I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've heard so many good things about Team Liquid and the fact that scrims were going really well, although we know that usually scrims going well doesn't mean that stage is going to go well as well. What have been your difficulties so far?
I think our hands are not working well, so we need to tell our brains that like do better.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your hands are following your brain now? Is everything fixed?
Well, I think we need to some stretch,
All
make
right.
our blood working well on
All
our
right.
body, so should be better.
Great tips. I'm going to ask for hand stretching advice after that. Something that I've noticed watching you play Champions Queue is that a lot of pro players and fans agree on the fact that you may be one of the best shot callers in the West and in pro play, actually. Can you talk me through your impact leading the team and what makes your shot call better than others?
I would like to say this one, like after winning like Asian team, but after having a little bit of disappointed series by myself, like it's very hard to say how much impact I did on the game because it was not that good game.
Is there anything that you would like to improve upon for the next stages, and if so, what?
I will just go back to practice room and then play some solo queue.
All right, better hands, brain functioning, play some solo queue, standard workout. I know that in the opening teaser, APA was actually saying that you need to reignite hope for LCS. Do you feel like you have a lot of responsibility with Team Liquid at Worlds?
I mean, FLICKR is in the 2-1, so once they lose 2 more games, we're gonna be the last hope.
All right. I hope you guys can keep some teams, though. I love the interview. Thank you so much, CoreJJ.
Thank you.
Congrats on reaching the next round. We'll see you in a few minutes after the draw. And that's all for us here on this side of the stage. We'll be right back for the draw show in just a few minutes.
Thank you so much. He's really funny, CoreJJ. Effortlessly so. We've got Yeon here with us as well. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Stressful? 1 out of 10, how much?
Maybe 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay, good.
Not that stressful, but like a little bit worried that we're gonna get knocked out by another minor region this time around.
What was stress before the series versus stress now?
To be honest, more than stress, it was like worry that it might happen again, like the return of last year. But more than that, I really wanted to win, so it like cancels out a little bit.
Yeah, it does. You also stole a dragon. So did Titan, though, in the first game. And thanks to the reliable Cisco network, we had not 1, but 2 Ezreal dragon steals this series. Were you like, okay, I'm going to give it back to him in that second?
So actually, he was hitting the dragon for such a long time.
Yeah.
I was watching it because it was on the crab.
Yeah.
I had full vision of it, so I was just eyeballing it for like an entire 25 seconds. I'm like, hey, what if I do that to him again?
Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, very, very nice.
This was great because I think Impact had just died in the top lane and it was looking really bad. And when we were watching on the screen, just on the corner, I see like, oh, Yeon stole dragon. And I felt better about it for a split second.
I feel like both games, I was just sitting here watching like on the edge of the couch. I was getting so nervous after, some of the mistakes that are happening. But I kept being like, all right, Yeon's going to save us. That's why we had to get you here. Like the Kai'Sa game, when you were so rich, like what were the comms all game long? Because you were the only one I was looking at. I was like, please, he is going to take over. You were like, by the way, you ended like almost 5,000 golds ahead individually.
Yeah, so I really wanted to fight, but I didn't really like give an example of how to fight because their comp is very hard to like actually siege towers against. So we were just playing the map. Like Cora and everyone else was just talking about the side waves because that kind of game is way more side lane reliant, and I just kept moving back and forth to find something. Not very easy, but just a lot of gold. Nothing that was used.
What about the call to take Baron and give the Dragon Soul?
So we were actually just planning on one-shotting and then fighting them, but we couldn't really get. I don't think we positioned well enough to punish them after they took it. I think if we punished a little bit faster and like wrapped them a little bit, I think we would have easily been able to wipe them because we were so strong.
I like it.
Yeah, we could see with the double teleports used and then just kind of having to let them get away.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate.
Regardless, how has it been kind of having to reset your own expectations? Because I think a lot of people are looking at Team Liquid, and I think still are, you know, from this point on, as, oh, all this quality that you've shown in the LCS, you know, your proficiency to also kind of take it to T1, just to give one example, right? But that not really coming to fruition in those best of ones. Do you feel more comfortable with kind of this lesson, but also the best ofs that are coming up now if you get, you know, the LCK opponents again and the LPL opponents?
Yeah, so we definitely were very confident going to this tournament because we were having really good practice. I do think that a lot of our matches were very close and we couldn't really execute the final straw, the final like fights. I think we learned a very good lesson, like if we have the chance, we should absolutely just keep going for it and just like use our brain, or make sure our brain is cold and look at things logically. And besides that, I'm excited just to play against every LPL team again. BLG is next, probably.
Oh, yeah, because we have the draw show. We have the draw show. We have so many BLGs down there.
With our luck, we're going to meet BLG.
Well, there's one team you can't play down there. We have the bracket somewhere. I want to throw it up
We do. I
behind
would
us
love
as soon as we can. Yeah, Weibo's down there. We also have Fnatic down there.
Yep. Fnatic is down there.
We meet our brothers again.
Gam is down there now.
We got PSG down there. Yeah. We got Gam there. Okay, so we got Fnatic, BLG, Weibo, PSG,
So it could be really good or really bad, basically.
Well, you have a 25% chance of getting an LPL team and a 75% chance of getting Fnatic, PSG, or Gam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like...
Because you can't play Weibo.
So like T1's going to beat TS, then we're going to beat BLG, then we're going to meet TS.
Yes,
okay.
So we're basically going to run through the entire LPL bracket.
Wouldn't you like to just take down the EU second seed on your way there, though? I
mean, it'd be much more funny if we met every single LPL team.
It'd be like the T1 of last year, but the inverse, like you lose to all of them.
Maybe you lose to all of them this time around. Maybe you don't meet TS.
I know you've beaten Fnatic twice this year, but isn't it kind of hard to beat a team like over and over again?
Yeah, I think they definitely didn't show what they were actually capable of when we were playing against them. So maybe this time around they can actually show how good they are.
I'm hoping with you, man, but I don't know.
He said they could. He didn't hope that they will.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, because we, of course, have the 2-in-1 pool draw coming up as well, and you have some things that can't happen, right? So, like, G2 cannot draw HLE, but there's a lot of strong opponents aside from that. I think a lot of fans are wanting that FlyQuest G2 matchup really, really badly. I almost think like it's a trap, you know, for either side.
I mean, I feel like we've been denied our NA versus EU, hype matches so far.
They're about to appear.
I want them now.
Yeah,
I want to get them both.
Fly G2, TL Fnatic.
Get us both.
Let's go.
We have like 10 seconds left. What's your prediction of who you're going to play?
I think we're going to play BLG with our luck.
Oh my God.
I'm going to
Try
say
to
it again.
unjinx it by saying it. I get it.
Yeah, we're going to play Fnatic.
Okay.
Okay, they're going to play Fnatic.
I'm ready.
Let's see. It's time for the draw show for the next stage of our Swiss stage. I'm so nervous.
And welcome everyone to the World's 2024 Swiss Stage Draw Show. Gen.G and LNG have already advanced to the knockout stage, and we've had to say goodbye to MDK and paiN Gaming. I'm Laure, and I'm joined by Malu, Riot Games tournament official. The remaining 1 and 2 teams have been divided based on their results over the last few days of competition. The first pillar here consists of the teams that went 2-1, and the second pillar are the teams that went 1-2. As a reminder, repeat matchups are not allowed in the Swiss stage if a team is drawn against someone they have already played, or if a draw would force 2 other teams in a repeated matchup, the drawn team will be moved to the next available matchup. Our 2-1 teams consist of Top Esports, T1, FlyQuest, D+Kia, Hanwha Life Esports, and G2 Esports. Now, Malu, would you please draw the first team, please? D+, Kia. And they will be facing Top Esports. Now for the second matchup, the first team is G2 Esports. And their opponents will be Hanwha Life Esports, but it is an invalid draw, so they will need another opponent. Now, for G2's opponents, T1. Now for the next matchup, for Hanwha Life's opponents, FlyQuest. And now for our 1 and 2 teams, Fnatic, Bilibili Gaming, PSG Talent, Weibo Gaming, GAM Esports, and Team Liquid Honda. Now, Malu, would you please draw the first matchup, please? Team Liquid Honda. And they will be facing Weibo Gaming, but this is an invalid draw, so we will now draw Team Liquid Honda's opponents. GAM Esports. And now we will draw Weibo's opponents. Fnatic. And now for the next matchup. BLG. And their opponent will be PSG Talent. Here are the matchups for round 4 of the World's 2024 Swiss stage. Round 4 will be played over the next 3 days, October 10th, 11th, and 12th. 3 more teams will advance to the knockout stage, and 3 more teams will be sent home. Remember, league officials will confirm the order of the matches tonight. Be sure to follow us on lolesports.com to see the schedule as it is locked in. And that's all for us here on this side of the stage. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Perspective, and the 1 and 2 teams, I think TL specifically, it's probably comfortable. Fnatic, not so. A couple of things stand out to me. BLG PSG rematch is actually super hype. Remember what almost happened at MSI, and I personally would have liked to see G2 FlyQuest maybe, but I think G2 T1 is the best at East versus West rivalry we have ever had in League of Legends, and I love seeing it.
It is actually an incredible matchup.
I love seeing
G2 T1 is actually an incredible matchup. Caps wanted to play T1 when he talked to me yesterday.
Not saying they're going to win, right? But it's fun.
That to me is amazing. The rest of it, I was a little disappointed we didn't get any versus you anywhere.
Again.
I was a lot disappointed.
I really wanted to see TL Fnatic or G2 Fly. I think G2 T1 is more entertaining, but
if our teams deliver, which we hope will get them in like the ultimate 2-2 match.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Exactly. We've still got a good NA EU in store for us, maybe.
Yeah.
Are you saying if G2 loses to T1, then they'll get a 2-2 against TL?
Yeah.
You want that?
No, FlyQuest could lose, and then they would be up against Fnatic. Yeah. Don't put words in my mouth. But G2 could absolutely lose to T1. I mean, that's all they've done the entire year.
Your point is really good, though, because that is the one with so much history, is the G2 versus T1 matchup. So we're a bit salty that we didn't get any NAEU direct matchups, but that one is really good.
I do agree. Obviously, you want the best chances, and I think for both of these teams, that would have been the case, right?
I mean, it's a GAM versus TL elimination game rematch again. Like, this is the team that eliminated them from
the script
from Worlds last year, and they just did it to GAM to MAD. So it's like the reason that this is like a disappointing draw for me is because I still feel like the sentiment is GAM free win, man. But like literally they're 2-0 for eliminations of Western teams.
And we just had Yeon here thinking about it already.
I didn't want to do that again.
Yeah, he was thinking about it before this series, so they're definitely going to be thinking about it before that series.
It's like something that's hard that you don't get credit for, which is you know, not a good combo.
No, and I think the kind of the side effect of it being G2T1 was, of course, that we got HLE FlyQuest, which is
really hard.
A very, very difficult draw, gotta say.
Yeah, our chances are not that great.
This is the 2-1 bracket, it's fine.
One. Yeah, it's fine.
It is the 2-1 bracket.
And then DK test.
Which, you know, I think this is a good draw. I've come around on it. No, I've actually come around on it. Because I think TL will win. And even if FlyQuest drops down, then we'll still have we're just going to have a lot of chances to make it out. Which I like. I like it being a little bit hopeful.
I think out of the 1 and 2 bracket, Fnatic got the short end of the stick. It's a hard matchup for them. It's a hard matchup for them into LPL teams generally. And I think they've shown a lot of mid-game issues, right, at times. And macro over pushing and whatnot, and you're going up against a team that has not had a perfect record, but G2's game versus them was by no means an easy goal after that early game even, right? So I think this is super difficult, and for Fnatic this is really now it's put up or shut up, right? So
but it has the potential to be so exciting, right?
It does.
If they can get it together, and especially like focusing on the draft and the tweet this type of stuff that we had.
Tweet?
Yeah.
And then the pullback?
Yeah. I mean, if they can figure everything out and focus up for this match, I feel like that match has the potential to be a banger.
Yeah, absolutely. Every single one has the potential to be a banger. What was also a banger was our first best of 3 of the day, but unfortunately for Mad Lions Koi, it was the end of the road here at Worlds, and we have an interview that was banked earlier today from Lore with Elyoya in the Verizon post-game interview.
And we're back backstage with Elyoya. Thank you so much for joining me after this series. First question, what was the main difference between the first game and the rest of the series for things to end like this?
I would say game 1, we had a really comfortable comp that we are really used to. And game 2 and 3, it was also comps that we were usually playing, but not sure what happened. I feel like we were not in the same page. I'll have to rewatch. Right now I'm out of words for it, but yeah, I think we were just not looking at the same. I remember many times that they were just catching us and we were not playing for anything, so it felt a bit weird.
Did you feel like from play-ins to the match that you played today that you had a hard time readjusting or finding the right approach? Did you guys feel lost as a team and felt like you had to change things constantly?
We had to change the playstyle coming from play-ins into here, because basically with the way we were playing we wouldn't beat any Asian team, and at the end is what we are playing for. Like, being honest, we don't really care if we win today and we lose tomorrow to Weibo Gaming. What's the point? Like, you're still out of playing, like of top 8. So we try to adapt and play a style that we are really not used to, but that we believe is better to beating the Asian teams. Obviously, when you're trying new things and you're doing something different, you're gonna play worse. And I think today we really showed it that we played way worse than we would do before. But we believe it's the way to beat the Asian teams, and again, we would do it again. Like, we would rather lose like this than beat them and go out in this next round.
And I feel like it's something that I respect and that a lot of people respect about MDK is the fact that you keep on saying that you want to learn. If you fall, you fall. That's how you learn, and that's how you get back up, actually. And when I consider your project at the beginning of the year, bringing in 4 players who did not have any LEC experience, bringing them to Worlds. I feel like you guys learned a lot, Yoya, as a team and even for you as a captain, would you say so?
For sure. I think, unlike this last week, I would say we improved so much, and I think one of the best proofs of it is game 1. I feel like we never closed a game so clean like we did in game 1. So there is proof that we are improving. Obviously, it was not enough today, but we know it's the way.
Yeah, and sends a really positive signal for the future for Mad Lions and for MDK for me, honestly, when I consider all the success that you guys found this year, even if the road stops here. What are you proud about when it comes to this year? And if you have a final message to fans who've been cheering for you?
Well, I'm proud of the work I have put in. I think it's the year I have worked the most. And, well, all the hours that we have put, I think I'm really proud about it. So, yeah, I would stay with it. I think coming into the next years, we're going to show a much better face because at the end this was our first year together. So I'm really positive about it.
Thank you for making us believe that anything is possible and that you can make magic if you trust in each other. Thank you so much, Yoya.
Thank you.
Actually, a really interesting interview, especially the point that he mentioned about feeling like they wouldn't be able to beat the team at the next round, so they have to change their style. Because I think not every, I'm going to generalize here, but almost every Western team that's ever gone to Worlds is going to be near the top of their region or being able to find success because they have a specific style.
Yeah.
And the reason they have that style is because generally they found that's what they're best at.
Yeah.
However, when you are so beaten down in scrims, which often happens, like 80-90% win rates for the Eastern teams, like the definition of insanity is continuing to try to do the same thing and expect a different result. So you're like, okay, well, we need to change. But like a lot of the time, if they had changed that, they probably wouldn't have even made it to Worlds in the first place.
No.
So like, I absolutely understand the reasoning of let's play champions we're not comfortable with because we just feel like that could be the only way. It's like you're just in desperation throwing something out and hoping it comes back to you. And for what it's worth, it actually has worked a couple of times in the history of all these sports, but it's rare.
But the greatest, successes of Western teams have been when they stuck to their own styles.
Yep.
Even if you're getting beat down, it's really hard test.
But it's really hard because it's like, okay, let's just keep going and just hope it works.
Yeah, and we've had so many teams. I've had so many NA rosters come back and tell me the exact same thing that he just said as the reason of, that's why we copied the meta. That's why we are trying to follow in the footsteps of those LPL, LCK teams. But if you think about the peaks of G2 and the peaks of the Western teams that had the most success, they're the ones that are sticking to their style, and they're the ones like making other people think, we should be shifting. So it's
I'll also say
very hard.
Those teams, their style was probably working a bit. Right?
Yeah.
Before having to pivot.
In scrims. It was working in scrims probably.
It's like which one came first,
Yeah, exactly.
Because we aren't getting beat so much, then we don't have to change our style.
And having to change it up means, now we have to kind of first time things on stage, which we actually haven't scrimmed before we came to Worlds to scrim. It's crazy.
It's usually a disaster. Like
it's hard.
It's almost always a disaster. But I understand.
I want to button up the story.
What happens.
Yeah, me too. I want to button up the story, just also from me, of course. I just want to echo what Laure said. It's crazy what Mad Lions quite achieved this year, and this is a blemish, absolutely. And some of the other games that they played this year, you might feel the same, but they absolutely deserve to go to Worlds because no other team was as good as them to get that third place, right? And I'm definitely proud of them for this year. So that'll be it. We have 2 days of break, and then we will be back on Thursday. So we will recharge our batteries. Our teams will maybe drastically change the meta. I don't know. And we'll pump up on our hopium. We'll be back here on October 10th at 2 p.m. Central European Summer Time, 8 a.m. Eastern US Time for more Worlds 2024. Good night. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't overthink, but think, okay? In the game, you need to think, but don't overthink. Okay?
Guys, just think, but not think a lot.
The map, and Smolder's in a good spot now.
Ooh, nice dredge line there coming out from Alvaro. Elio has to flash away, but it still don't matter. That's Yeon. Oh, but the dive is coming in from Cam. The bullet time over the top of the slicing Maelstrom. They're going to find 2 more kills.
Let's not talk anything, just let us.
Yes.
It's fine, okay? We know how to play.
Cam has found their angle. Super with a feather storm. finds a nice opportunity. If only they weren't so far behind. If they find Super, the game's gonna be over right there. And immediately, Emo jumps in. Easy Love is dominating. Vietnam still has some fight left in them, and they will eliminate MDK.
Last thing, guys, let's have fun, okay? Go out there, play with a smile, play with confidence, play for each other, please. All right, let's go. Fighting!
Okay. Zero place. Zero. Easy. I'm coming slowly, guys. Easy.
And then CarioK trying to use the Nocturne ulti to go into the pit. Impact's already going to be killed off as APA tries to get away. CarioK still down at the pit. Yeon needs to grab the damage.
Nice, guys. Let's go. Nice.
I was really close to Baron deck, Kaka.
Anything, guys? Easy. We coming through.
Ezreal might die. Watch Nocturne.
It's mega.
Win mid wave. How much mid?
I'm looking for Ezreal. I get Ezreal. Ezreal 1 HP, guys. Ezreal die.
Neeko, careful Neeko.
Leona flash. Nice. I can't look this guys. 2v2 guys.
나이스 거리 그거야.
넥톤 노 HP.
오케이.
Orianna last one.
I keep going.
Wait.
This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd. Fire in the sunrise. Ashes raining down. Try to hold it in, but it keeps bleeding out. This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd.
Great white sharks just out there swimming. Been a bad man since when? Since the beginning. Got a whole bag of monsters with me. God knows they did the illest. And if you come